we're gonna level the swash plate on the Fusion 360 using my DX6G3 and forward programming. This only works with transmitters that are able to do the forward programming from the screen menu. All right, you're going to need zip tie, small one, tape of whatever kind you have, and the helicopter. Plug it in. Throttle hold. You're going to go to the transmitter and we are going to forward programming. You're gonna click there and then you're gonna go to setup. Once you go to setup, here's the menu where you can set up the swash plate, the tail rotor travel, and throttle, and things of that nature. What we're gonna do here is we're gonna go to swash plate and then we're gonna go to output setup, and then you have in here your subtrim menu. Once you click there, you're gonna hear the helicopter center, all its servos. Well, not all of them, just the swash plate servos. To what it thinks, it's 50% or zero pitch at the moment. At this point, I usually just grab my zip tie and install it on the head. Make sure it's on there nice, but make sure it's not binding, meaning that it's not touching the swash plate or the top of the head. At this point, we have that sticking up. To enable full rotation, we're gonna have to cut it right here. And this will allow me to spin the head 360 degrees. I pick out a servo as the master servo that's going to lead the other two servos into its position. And what that means is essentially I'm just gonna take one servo. I usually like to do this one here, the rear elevator servo, and I center that to zero pitch. And to do so, I look at the marks here. Now, please note, on some Fusion 360s, you're gonna notice that some of them don't have the grips, the grip mark of zero pitch at zero pitch. So I happen to have one grip that is actually marked the proper way by the factory. So this is the one that I am going by. You can tell here that this doesn't line up, but it's actually at zero pitch as well. Anyways, we're gonna go by this one. Back to the transmitter at the menu we were at earlier. Let me see how I can position this. We are going to change now the servo. The channel 2 is that one servo that it's the one that leads it, that I chose for it to lead the other ones into zero pitch. So I make sure that that one is at zero pitch, and I also make sure that I use the mark. Remember that mark on the head? This is the blade grip here, and the link is right on top of the rear servo, meaning that the reading on this blade will equal the servo. So essentially, I'm at 0 pitch right there. If you can see or what. So now we know that that's 0. But if it wasn't, here's how you adjust it. Watch the swash plate and watch the servo right here. I'm gonna change the number in the middle and notice how I can move up and down. Here on the transmitter, knowing that 0 for my setup equals 0 pitch on the actual helicopter itself by me looking at the blades and at the mark over here. Now I know that I can base the other 2 servos off of the measurements of this servo. And now that we know that, we are going to grab our trusty tape here. I'm going to use the straight edge cut made by the factory, and I'm going to move the zip tie so that I can now position this tape and make contact to the rear. And that's what we get. We essentially now have a trusty little gap, but we can adjust.
What is the car
To make it touch. And then what we can do here is we can now rotate the blades and see how the other ones actually compare to the original ones. So here we go. As we rotate, they're going to see whether or not it needs to be adjusted. Mine is leveled, but let's say it wasn't. Let's say that there was a big gap right there between the tape and that servo link. What would I do? I would go into that same menu we were at and adjust the other servos. Let's give that a go. Channel 1. All right, so let's see. Channel 1, we'll move this up and down. And so you would actually just adjust it either left or right until you get it to where you want it, which is to touch the tape. Once you have it there, you would move on to the following servo that you haven't leveled yet. It would be this one. And you would do basically the same process. You would rotate onto tape gets there. And then you would adjust it as well. So then I would go here once again. To my other channel. And adjust that one as well. It is 68 at the moment, but let's say I just needed some adjustment on it. You can go here, it's negative 68, but you can go here and adjust it. Once you're done, you are finished. You would then go here into the menu. Go to back, go to back, go to back, go back, and back. You're out of the menu. Please go ahead and unplug your battery. Blade made a mistake in which somehow they have allowed the helicopter to spool up really fast out of the forward programming menu, making a very dangerous situation possible if you happen to forget about it. That's it for my video. I hope everybody is having a great day. Have a good day. If you have any questions, feel free to post something on the comments. I usually answer pretty quickly. Peace.